Good evening, everyone. Do I have a motion to start the meeting at 6 o'clock? Do I have a motion to start the meeting?
Make a motion to start the meeting at 6 o'clock.
Do I have a second to the motion? Start at 6 o'clock.
I'll second it.
Okay, we're going to do this a little different tonight. We're going to do our financial and our reports, and then we're going to let you guys ask questions.
Can I introduce the constable?
Yes, you may.
Okay, I'd like to introduce you to Luke Van Gort. He's our constable for District 6.
Hello.
This is my first time to meet him too, so we're all new at this, but he's going to be with us tonight.
So what is constable?
He's, Luke, tell me what your responsibilities are, if you will.
Well, essentially the same as the sheriff. Anything the sheriff can do, does do, except that I am completely self-funded, no budget whatsoever, no tax money, not a penny. So I've done this a few years. I do what I can. Yeah.
And that's a job where you were voted in, correct?
Yes, every 2 years.
Yeah.
Voted in District 6, which is Ozark Acres, Williford, Martin Creek, all the way down 63 to the county line, and then all the way down 58, other side of Beach.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to begin with reports. Financial report for July. The general account balance is $146,080.01. Money market account is $37,029.79. Volunteer interest account balance is $500. Account payment for the volunteer fire department is $9,173.94. Volunteer petty cash account is $8,199.39. Special business account is $18.86. The volunteer ARP fund is $5,007.63. The office report. Jeanette's been busy doing accounts payable, payroll, accounts receivable. She creates a monthly report from the office and for the maintenance department. Prepares reports for the monthly SID commissioners meeting. Prints deeds off of Sharp County stick drive. She does the data entry for the receipts received from the county, emails, phone calls, FOIAs, she's updated the phone number database, called and updated security information with vendors, cleaning office, and she handles the food pantry also. Sorting and entering, printing, copying, filing, basically basic office duties. She handles the front counter for property owner cards, vote stickers, clubhouse. She's been helping me with the election notices to get ready for approval for the August meeting. And we also have a sign-up sheet for anyone that wants to be on the election committee. So if you want to be on the election committee, if you want to sign your name and your phone number, we'll get in contact with you. Update, and she updates all the property owner information for the mass mail. And links.
All right. I received a letter from Whit Montague, who is the Certified Floodplain Manager for the state of Arkansas. She is the head of Arkansas Natural Resources Division for all floodplains, dams, lakes, etc. Dear Ms. Lang, the state is contacting you to determine progress made on outstanding items noted during the last state inspection of Spring Lake and Vagabond Lake dams. As you know, the state conducted an inspection on both dams on October 11th, 2022. At that time, the following concerns were noted. Spring Lake Dam. The Spring Lake Dam impoundment was experiencing significant drawdown. A sinkhole was noted along the right side of the upstream slope, albeit not directly on the embankment. Additionally, there is a suspected sinkhole in the reservoir portion of the structure upstream of the embankment. Significant seepage was noted along the downstream portion of the embankment, perhaps due to the sinkhole activity. Concrete on the spillway is spalling and may require repair within the next 24 to 48 months. At that time, the state recommended contracting a geotechnical firm to investigate the cause of the sinkholes and to develop a long-term strategy to address this problem. The state appreciates the update you provided on June 13th, 2023 regarding these issues. It is our understanding that at this time the suspected sinkholes are no longer active and you are monitoring conditions at Spring Lake. Vagabond Lake Dam. The state noted that the drawdown pipe may be inoperable and or in need of repair. The auxiliary spillway repair was of concern. Although the repair seems to be in good order in 2020, at the time of the October 2022 inspection, the repair showed significant signs of deterioration and instability. The concrete facing was chipped and flaking. Examination of the concrete indicated that it may have been improperly placed. Generally accepted practice is a minimum of a 2-inch or greater concrete thickness. For comparison purposes, a sidewalk is typically a minimum of 4 inches thick. Next steps. The state requests an update and or plan of action for rehabilitation of the auxiliary spillway and testing and assessment of the drawdown pipes at both dams. Further, the state requests an update with respect to the required annual tabletop exercises and the test drill of the Emergency Action Plans, EAPs. Per Title VII, implementation of EAPs must include a tabletop exercise every year and a test drill, which includes emergency management officials every 3 years. According to our records, both dams are classified as high hazard and are therefore required to have an updated emergency action plan in place. The updates must include comprehensive review of potential vulnerabilities, updated contact information, and inundation mapping showing structures that would be impacted by a potential dam breach. The state is greatly appreciative of your ongoing efforts to safely operate and maintain Spring Lake and Vagabond dams. Your participation in the 2023 Dam Owners Workshop was informative and provided other dam owners with useful insights with respect to the challenges of operating and maintaining dams. As you may recall, the goal of the 2023 Dam Owners Workshop was to provide practical, straightforward information on topics of importance to homeowner and property owner associations that own or operate dams. Your willingness to share your expertise and experience was very helpful and was appreciated by your fellow attendees. Please keep the state updated with respect to the items noted above. Additionally, if assistance or information is needed, please contact me. Respectfully, Whit Montague, Certified Floodplain Manager, Dam Safety, Arkansas Division of Natural Resources, Little Rock. Because of that letter and the other things that I've been working on, I would like to request a meeting of all lake property owners so that we can start to work together on our EAP updates, etc. on July 29th at 10 o'clock here in the clubhouse. It'll be a Saturday morning. There are several things that we can work on together to get updated information and just give you guys a better idea of what all is going to be required with this. My report for Lakes and Dams, engineer Kevin Hodges was here on July 13th. He was given copies of all requested dam records, the dam ownership, workshop materials and checklists, all the previous repairs, drawing, and plans that I was able to find, complete inundation areas, he completed the inundation areas, highway crossings, downstream area, Spring Lake sinkhole, and general measurement inspections. We will need to have additional gravel added to the sinkhole peninsula in Spring Lake as the lake level drops this fall and summer. There are some obvious areas of concern in Vagabond Spillway. Adjacent soil is having runoff and erosion problems. There's undercutting on the edge of the spillway, obvious structural concerns with the valve, walkway, pier, and gate, and some undercutting at the base of the falls where the spillway empties. All of these things are covered in the dam inspection checklists provided by Arkansas Natural Resource Commission along with the recommended course of action. These will have to be completed in September due to overgrown vegetation on both dams. The lowest bid I had received for removing the vegetation on dams was $6,000. So we will just have to wait for Sharp County to clear them in August. They will require the volunteer fire department to be present when they conduct the burn-off as the second section of that clearing. If anyone would like to help provide lunch for the crew, please let me know. I am not able to come in contact with any mammal meats. I can't cook them for someone else. I can't touch them. I can't serve them. So it kind of limits me. If they're going to be here for a week, I'd be happy to make them a couple of things with chicken, but I literally just cannot cook other things for these guys. So if anyone would be willing to help me with that week, I would really appreciate it. There have been several complaints about lake rule violations. Let's be honest, we can't afford to police the community, so we can't really police the lakes or people violating other rules or ordinances right now. Boats without stickers, fast boats, unknown visitors, not checking property cards, stray dogs roaming the beach, music too loud. All of those things currently, as a lake commissioner, I have no authority to enforce any of those violations. You guys might want to keep that in mind going forward when new bylaws need to be written from SID. If you aren't happy with your neighborhood, I'm sorry, but this SID cannot help you. You will have to take them to court to file a bills of assurance violation. Bathrooms are open at the beach. Both are leaking, but they are open. There is an underground water line leak between the guardhouse and the pavilion, so that water is off. The pavilion house interior water lines have several neglect issues, which is why they have been unavailable for use for pressure washing. Stella tried to use them to wash the picnic tables. We had a lot of issues with the water lines inside that house that's on the pavilion, so that's why we're not using those lines at the moment. Hold on, please. All of the lines on our side of the meter and all bathroom fixtures actually need to be replaced or updated and should be put into consideration for next spring as an improvement project. Huge thank you to Mr. Paul for the beach facelift and all the extra hours spent preparing for and mostly recovering from the multiple 4th of July fireworks celebrations that were held throughout the acres, including on the helipad for numerous days and many, many messes. The pavilion and the pad look great. Thank you to the residents involved. Thank you to the residents who cleaned up Mimosa Park. It is much appreciated and it looks great as well. The picnic tables have all been treated and stained by Commissioner Cayetano and will remain where they are this winter. If your park still needs tables, let me know. The keys to the guard shack, beach gate, marina gate, pavilion house are not automatically available to any resident or group who requests them. If you are interested in accessing the pavilion for an event, please contact the SID office or myself to complete the proper paperwork, just like if you were using the clubhouse. I have gotten 2 local bids to repair and rebuild the fishing dock and walkway that's over by the Spillway Park. Those bids, the walkway is very unsafe, the fishing dock isn't much better. The bids are approximately $2,500 to simply repair the rotten and damaged areas, $4,500 to repair the rotten areas and railings, extend the walkway and secure the barrels properly to the walkway, and approximately $11,000 to rebuild the structure completely. If you would like for me, as your SID commissioner, to pursue this, please ask for it to be placed on next month's agenda.
Excuse me, Priscilla, when is that meeting again with the legislature?
July 29th,
I use a lot better bid than that.
Clubhouse Panan.
Ms. Lane, as me and you have previously spoken, and Marcia has previously spoken, you got a group that's asked that we will help with the water line between the pavilion and the restaurant.
As I just said in my report, Mr. Spurgeon, I understand that you have volunteered to help with that. I don't really see a reason to fix one problem and leave 6 others. If it's going to be done, I would assume and I would think that it would be easier to do it all at one time. And instead of let's fix
That ain't
this.
how it works. That's not how volunteer works. Volunteer,
Well, that-
people are
volunteering-
volunteering to fix your stuff or fix our stuff.
Mhm.
Because I've been here since 1988. I've probably been here one of the oldest people here, or as long as people here.
I'm just, this is a meeting and I'm just
I understand, but-
excuse me,
Excuse me.
hold on a minute, please, okay? This is my turn, my time to be able to give my report, which is what I just did. You will have a chance to ask questions in the meeting, okay? But that was my report, okay?
Once our reports are over,
There will be a question
It'll
answer.
be open to you guys to speak about what we talked about, okay? Okay, next.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
We've had no renters in the clubhouse this month. The Ozark Acres Friends of the Fire Department and the Fire Department have met here to plan things. They'll probably be having their meetings here because they have more room.
And what about the training class?
Fire Department training classes will be
That's
here
fire department.
whenever they'd like to have them.
Beach has already been done.
Okay, beach is done, maintenance.
Okay, maintenance. Well, we get our maintenance done 12 days a month. And out of those 12 days, I could read all this, I mean, this page is a page of everything he does in 12 days. But he mowed everything before the 4th of July. He tilled the sand, he does the weekly trash. He fixes potholes that he sees that he can whenever they come up. When we got asphalt, and we had some great volunteers again that helped to fill the holes, and we're working along, trying to fill what we can. We had an issue with the speed bumps, and everybody knows about speed bumps. Well, the speed bumps were fried up, and yes, they were fried up. We have a report, they were fried up. Bending the bolts. So they bent the bolts. In order to get that, and it literally happened the day before we were getting the asphalt. So in order to prevent cars from all popping all their tires and just let people just go over it, we put the asphalt over the things, because we only have one part-time guy, 12 days a week, who was going to be working with us that day, right before it happened, because we have to cut out the ground, cut the bolts out, because it just bent them completely over. The scrape marks are there and all that. And so, I didn't, the speed bumps weren't my choice. The speed bumps were voted on way before I ever came along. These were voted on, they were bought, they were everything before I ever became commissioner. My job is to enforce what they've already voted on. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm not sitting there saying, I want speed bumps. And, you know, I don't like speed bumps either. Nobody does. Who likes speed bumps? But they're there for a reason. They're there to protect and slow people down. We can't just go and just pry them up and start pulling out on them and, you know, and doing things like that. It's, you know, we have to abide by some kind of rules. It's, you know, and I understand nobody likes them. But like I said, this was all done before I ever came along. I'm just trying to do my job. If, you know, you're not doing your job if you don't try to do what you're supposed to do and try to enforce. You just can't just let everybody just do whatever the heck they want. Besides that, Paul went around and he cleaned up after 4th of July. He did a really great job before 4th of July. Went around and cleaned up after 4th of July. He's been working on equipment, taking care of things that are broken down, the backhoe, the road grader. He's graded roads. But like I said, he's 12 days a week. That's all they budgeted. I mean, a month. I'm sorry. 12 days a month. Yes, I would agree. I wish we had that would get a lot accomplished. But you know, that's all we have. That's all he was budgeted for. The SID did not budget him for anything more. That's it. You know, and so, you know, we've had again a lot of people just not realizing we just have such a short time of help here. We do what we do need, and I understand we do need more maintenance. We do need to hire someone full-time. It can't get done, all the mowing and all the potholes and all the weed eating and all the fixing the equipment on 12 days with one guy. So that's why we did have, you know, we had people out there with shovels. Let's get everybody there. You know, Jeannie, Scott, all of you, right? Just everybody. Even Colin, we're out there with the shovel, helping fill potholes. Everyone was over 60, but you know, but they did it, you know, and we do what we can. And next week we'll get another truckload, and I'll keep getting truckloads until I fill everything that I possibly can until November. And that's, you know, I'm doing the best I can with one guy, part-time, 12 days a month, and some volunteers. A couple ladies and a couple men, you know. We're trying, you know. I mean, you guys are acting like we're not doing anything, but I'm going to keep plugging along, and every week I'm going to get asphalt. And every week we are filling, there's a long list of potholes because they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And I know this, but I am trying. Anyways, if anybody would like to look at his long list of his 12 days, there's pages and pages and pages of it.
Did the fuel pump get repaired yet?
The fuel pump,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Okay, so then I'll take off number 14 on the agenda. That's just been discussed.
Okay, next is the fire department report.
Okay, I have a report from Heather, Secretary, and then I have my report. Ozark Acres Volunteer Fire Department meeting minutes for July the 9th, 2023. Meeting called to order at 1 p.m. There were 11 members present. Josh Moore, the Hardy Fire Department Chief, has been approved by the fire department to join the department. We will approve him tonight. Acting Chief Jason Wilson and Hardy Fire Chief Josh Moore signed a mutual aid agreement. Took a vote and approved the decision to make the volunteer fire department page on Facebook for information and events only instead of an open forum. Discussed upcoming events, received new information about resources to help the fire department with equipment, FEMA student IDs, and calendar all upcoming classes. Verified that there are currently 13 certified members. Discuss working with Mr. Tom Parsons and the Water Association to check all hydrants, inspect all vehicles, and dismiss meeting. And then I wrote one that I'm doing. The Ozark Acres Volunteer Fire Department had a very successful 4th of July celebration along with the new group, Friends of the Fire Department, who are made up of some of the property owners. And anyone can join that group. A lot of people started showing up for the fireworks to join those that had already come earlier. There was food and drink sold, a 50-50 raffle, a raffle for the Stevens 320 shotgun, and also a silent auction. Also, the children had several games that they really enjoyed. The fireworks were set off by the fire department. They did a great job. The total made for our fire department was $690. They were all excited with seeing so much participation and the fun that everyone was having that the two groups together are planning a fall festival. Oh, and by the way, raffle tickets are still available for the shotgun. They are $5 each or 6 for $25, and the drawing is going to be at the fall festival. This past Friday, I put the order in for 6 handheld and 3 mobile radios. We're getting a very good price for that, since Hardin and Highland are also getting some, and they're going to be fully programmed, ready to use. The salesman let me know that Arkansas Volunteer Fire Department are tax exempt, so that saved us quite a bit of money. A wildland class was held this past Saturday in Water Ridge with 6 members of the fire department going. The wildland class is one of the 3 classes that a person has to have to be certified fire person. Intro and PP are the other 2, which they'll be getting these in the near future. We are still adding more people to the Ozark Acres Volunteer Fire Department. In fact, we've got another one coming in tonight. One of whom has become certified instructor and can hold classes for our crew. This is really a plus for our department because we'll be getting classes sooner. I want to praise the fire department. In the past few months, they've come together and are getting things going again. I know that they are anxious to get the classes they need to get certified, and also more classes to reach the 16 hours required each year. I'm really happy to know that members of our volunteer fire department have gone out and helped with downed trees such as that happened on Bowman Hill about a week ago, and one that's fell on the SID roads, and also they went out to the unimproved area and helped out there. I noticed that the fire department members have been helping anywhere they can. I have to say I'm really proud of our fire department for getting back on track.
Okay, we did the parks, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to open this up for questions from you guys.
What time is it?
It is 6:45.
And how long do they go? Just
Well,
still the 30 minutes or?
It'll be 30 minutes, yeah.
I just want to say there's a birthday in the house, so there's going to be cake and ice cream after the meeting for everyone to come and have some. Okay?
Miss Marshall,
Yes, sir.
you've got a volunteer group that will help from anywhere on that water line. As me and Miss Lane discussed, Mr. Paul can come out, or it gives the okay for the backhoe.
Can you wait 1 second? Can you just come up a little closer so I can hear you better? Thank
All right. Our Keith, for the ones that don't know me, neighbor, community helping neighbors. We're one of the Friends of the Fire Department. We're the ones that help put on the festival for the 4th of July. We're one of the ones that are helping with the fall festival. We're the ones that help with the fire department. We volunteered, me, Jason, Dylan, and a few of us. When y'all decide to let us help with the water line, we're offering our services to help. Put it in from the meter all the way to the restrooms, all the way down. But we're going to need a backup. Jason knows how to operate the backup. Dylan knows how to operate the backup.
Okay, so just when you and I talked just the other day,
Alright.
we didn't talk about everything from the meter all the way down. We talked about the one leak that we talked about. That's all we talked about, okay? You did not come up and volunteer that you could replace all of the water lines and the fixtures in the bathrooms, okay? If you did, that was totally my
You
misunderstanding.
were busy wanting to get off the phone. You had some company or something there.
So we were on the phone for over 35 minutes, Keith. If you had something that you wanted to be able to tell me then. What the conversation was that you had volunteered to help me with the one leak that we were aware of, okay? If you're saying that there's a crew that's available for more than that, absolutely. I'm not saying I'm not going
That way
to.
all of us are off work.
I'm not saying that I'm not willing to, that I'm not wanting to work with volunteers. Everybody here knows I've asked for volunteers since I started, okay? I've asked every single month for volunteers. And if you have a volunteer crew that can help me do the entire thing, great. My point during my report was, I think it's silly to fix it piecemeal, one at a time, because with the water lines that we have out there, when we fix one, it seems like another one breaks. Another one ends up with the problem. When I had the plumber come out and take care of the toilets, that's when we ended up with the water line problem underneath the sink in the men's bathroom, which is in an enclosed box. You have no access to any lines underneath the sink. I don't know who made it a box like that up there, but you can't even access that to turn that off, okay? So if you have volunteers that are willing to replace all the water lines, absolutely, we'll sit down and talk. And you guys can help me work up some amounts for materials, because I'm not a plumber, and then we can see what we can do.
As long as you give us permission. That's all we're asking for.
Well, about the backhoe, we've been having some issues about insurance and all of that, and yes, the equipment's covered, people are not. So we're not doing anything if you're not fully insured. Everyone that I'm using has 100% insurance on himself to full coverage insurance.
We do.
So, and right now the backhoe needs work on. They're working on it.
I know, I talked to Paul weekly. And he said he would also come out on Saturday, so. I just need permission from the board, that way we can all schedule a day to do it on a Saturday.
So you're saying he's going to volunteer his time too?
That's what he was saying. I talked to him the other day, so.
No, I'm not using all these. I'm not.
Okay, it'll be taken into consideration.
When, you guys aren't planning on doing this before the next meeting, right? Okay. Well, let's put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and we'll vote on it. But if you could come up with the cost of the piping and stuff.
Well, that would be, I guess, between Tom and Heath, that way they can both tell us what we
kind
need,
of-
and
okay.
Heath.
So if you guys.
What,
can get
briefly, I
that-
talked to Heath, he says that he probably has spare parts,
Okay.
so.
All right, well, if you can get that all together before the next meeting, and then we'll vote on it then, okay?
All right, thank you, Ms. Marshall.
Uh-huh. Anyone else? Deb?
Okay, Chris Allen, this is a question from a homeowner who's not here. So Birmingham, the spillway, they have a concern because they said at one point when they actually burned the spillway before, it resulted in erosion that when the heavy rains came then later on, that it actually caused a mudslide, and that was when all the spillway craziness started. So they have a concern about any kind of control burn on there.
It won't be a controlled burn, it will be a burn of the vegetation that has been removed by the crew. They will have to collect that, and we will need to burn it off. It can't be left laying on the side of the spillway, because it still keeps us from being able to assess the spillway and access anything that we need to get to down there.
Okay.
So what the inmates are planning on doing is coming out for a week, weed whacking everything down as tight as they can get it, pulling all of that vegetation up and out of there, and then burning that off.
Oh, all right. Second
Okay.
question on it. So with the engineer doing everything he's already doing, is it possible to include a loss of life study, which could change it from a high hazard to an intermediate hazard? And the study is apparently downstream residents only, to determine how many inches of water, if the spillway were to breach, would end up in their first floor.
Okay. You guys have been have talked to me about making this not a high hazard, like, since I first started this. And I have gone to Miss Montague and asked her, how do we become not high hazard? She said, we will never, ever become not high hazard. There are
Even with the
people who
spillway widening?
There are, even with the spillway widening, because there are people below both of our dams, directly in the path of our dams, that if they were in their yard at the time that it happened, they would lose their lives. There is potential for loss of life at both dams. That immediately qualifies us as a high hazard dam regardless. And unless we were able to like buy those properties from those people and kick them out and like level their houses, you know, maybe we could do it then, but that's not going to happen. So since there are people living directly in the flow of our dam breach, we will always be a high hazard dam. Okay?
Who's Miss Montague, you said?
She's the certified floodplain management. She's the head of Arkansas Natural Resources Division for watersheds, dams, floodplains, all of that.
When was the last time that study was done?
What study?
Study that you have to do to actually figure out the high hazard versus the mid and low.
It's done every time they come out and they look down over the top of the spillway and they go, gosh, there's a house right there.
It's actually not correct, but I understand.
I mean, it's all based on our inundation maps, which is what the engineer is like pulling together our inundation maps for us.
Well, what I'm saying is, if that study was done 20 years ago, let's just say there was 20 families downstream, and now there's one. Would it be worth looking into?
No, because there's still one. There's still one. There's still a possibility. The way that you are determined to be a high hazard dam is that there is potential loss of life. Potential loss of life. Not guaranteed loss of life, potential loss of life. Both of our dams could result in loss of life. We are never ever going to not be a high hazard dam. In this dam workshop that I was just in, we had a gentleman who, he and his family own a small lake, and they have an earthen dam. And they have never worried about it, they've never been concerned about it, but then someone bought some property downstream of them and built a very nice house downstream of them, and then turned around and went to the state and said, hey, you know, I think these people have got a dam on that lake now. You know, they've always had a dam, but now we live downstream of it. And sure enough, they are in that breach flow. And so now this poor guy who has had this lake in his family all of his life is now a high hazard dam. It wasn't before because no one lived below them. But now that someone lives below them, he told us in that meeting that he has had to take out a $2 million liability balloon policy, okay, for that dam. So even if, at this point, even if we could say that we did, in 5 years, if anybody adds anything onto any property below us, we're right back where we are now. Yes.
So basically, that status just determines what you have to pay for insurance to cover for something like that.
It's not. That's not the only part of it. Yes, that is a huge part of it, is the liability that comes along with that, okay? The other part of it is the number of inspections, the level of inspection that has to be done on those type of dams. Just like an earthen dam gets a different inspection criteria than a concrete or a hydraulic. Every type of dam in the state of Arkansas has its own updated checklists. And I really think that during the pandemic, this is basically what Natural Resources Commission did for the state of Arkansas. They spent their time revising all of that information, updating. They worked with the state of Kentucky for different checklists and different inspection forms that have been updated to fit Arkansas requirements. The last inspection form that I used was actually from Kansas. It was from the state of Kansas, but that's what the state had given me to use. Now they have updated all of those. They are all Arkansas-based, and all newly updated, like I said, and that's their focus now. Okay? Does that make sense?
What's the most up-to-date dam permit we have on Vagabond Lake?
We just paid for our dam, no, we just paid for 2022.
Okay,
We
so
will pay again in November for 2023. We're not the only ones, okay? When we were sitting when I was in that meeting and there was 50 dam owners in the meeting, nobody had done their inspections yet. Everybody was waiting for the state to come out and do them. She's like, you guys, that's not our job, that's your job. She asked how many of us had an EAP. None of us did. She said, out of the 441 dams that she's responsible for, she has 4 current EAPs. And they're tired of it. And they're out to
So all these
make that
deficiencies
change.
that they're noting on both the dams, some of they note these deficiencies, they don't affect us getting a permit or not?
No, they don't, because a permit is actually issued for 50 years. Okay?
Then why do we have one every year?
We have to renew it every year, just like your driver's license, just like your license plate on your car.
So it's good for 50 years once
Correct.
you do it, but you have to get it updated each year.
Correct. And that costs us, I think, $340 for both the dams for that. It's a negligible cost. It's the fact that if you don't submit your dam permit with a current EAP, they're not going to renew our dam permits in November when they are coming back out. So why she literally took a year off of, you know how I said we had her come out in 2022 and she did a dam inspection and I never got any feedback. I never got a report. And I called her and called her and called her. And she was like, we'll let you know. Well, the reason that they did that was they let everyone slide last year for 2022 as they implemented this new checklist, the new inspection forms, the new dam workshop that we were all supposed to attend last month. And then she said, this is where we are. This is our reset button. This is what we are requiring from you as dam owners to get your dam inspection permits in November. So that is what I'm working very, very hard on.
Last question, what's the purpose of the meeting, 729, with the lake owners?
I need contact information. I have some other information about EAPs that I would need some personal information from people who live on the lake, where they live on the lake, what their possible participation, that's not the right word.
Contribution?
Yeah, what part of the EAP they would play, depending on where they live. And I don't know where everyone lives. I don't know who would be a key contact. Okay, so if I have everyone in an area together and I can say, okay, so who lives right here, who, all of that kind of thing. And basically just to give you guys as lake property owners, because you are an actual member of the emergency action plan. Your name's going to be in it. You're going to be part of it.
Do they give you like an example of an action plan so that
Yes.
there's something to start from?
Yes, I have an entire template that I've been working on for several months. I've already, I've gotten the information that I need for emergency management in Sharp County. I have the contact information for the people from the state and Hardy and all of that. So I've been working on gathering all of that information and getting that all lined up and ready. But I'm not going to walk around and knock on people's doors and ask, hey, what's your name? What's your phone number? And I think it's important that the lake owners do know what our dam inspections are required, what our dam condition is going to be. Okay?
Well, my question is, if I can speak, does Miss Jeanette have all this information in the office? That way, since it's so hard to get in contact with each individual commissioner, you're
It's not hard to get into contact with me at all. I have put my phone number out there a million times. Okay? And if you need something for the lake, all you need to do is call me.
Well, can Jeanette just send an email out with the information for people who can't come to that meeting? I mean,
Whatever.
you're going to have to email
There's not going,
anybody.
okay, hold on. This is an informational meeting, and it all depends on what is said and talked about and decided at the meetings. Okay? I would like all property owners, all lake property owners, to attend a meeting on July 29th at 10 o'clock in the clubhouse.
I think she's
We'll see where.
And if they don't, then can we get an email about what's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on so we can respond?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure.
What I'm asking for is all the information you're getting from the state, can
Is-
that information not be set up there for
No.
Miss Jeanette, for anybody, for all property owners?
How would a
all-
How would a template for an emergency action plan be beneficial for the residents to have?
I don't know, maybe because they might need one.
We can't hear you, sweetie.
I can't hear you.
I figure if they live down the street, they would need one for an emergency.
And
See, it's not just for the ones that live around the lake, it's
Well, she
also
hasn't
for the ones that
completed it
get out of
yet.
it.
You're asking for the completed plan, which she hasn't done
Right,
yet.
the plan's not done. EAP isn't
Well, I'm
anywhere
also
near.
asking about the damn information. I'm asking about it all. Why is the information not given to Jeanette for Marcia to have access, Della to have access, for Wanda to have access?
Keith, I'm sorry, I don't understand what information you're asking for.
Every communication you keep doing with Little Rock, none of the rest of these three commissioners have access to unless you give it to them.
Huh, I don't have
Jeanette
Marcia's.
don't have the information on it.
I don't have Marcia's emails. I don't have Della's emails, and I don't have Wanda's emails.
There ought to be a protocol of some sort coming from the state. That way, if you got a car wreck tonight, heaven forbid, you die, nobody else has got that information. Nobody.
No, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not true at all.
How do I not know what I'm talking about? Miss Marcia, do you have any information you can get from the state she has?
We have emails from the state that we
But
forward
every
on
bit
to
that
her.
she has, can you get access to within seconds?
I would hope so.
You would hope. That's a
I would
big
have to,
word.
I would have
Hope.
to go into the link things and see what the emails are.
So Jeanette should actually have access for everything, whether it's
Everything.
$8,000.
Exactly, like when I call the lawyer, he always follows up with me with a statement that we spoke on the phone and this is what we talked about. So that way, it's on record in the office.
Have you ever gotten
Exactly. That's what
responses?
I'm asking for, everything that comes from the state that affects this lake.
There are copies of all of those communications, Keith, but those
And the
communications,
378 people that's on the water right now.
So-
All of it should have,
When
be
did,
able to go to that office and have any information we want to pull. Even with a FOIA request, either way.
when did
If
the
it's in the
information,
office, it's.
Right.
when did the information, that letter you Rick just read, come to you?
July, I got it in the mail like the 13th. And it came in the mail because I had requested her to send me some more copies of the dam workshop to my home address because I wanted an extra copy that I could scribble all over and write notes and draw arrows and all that. And she wasn't able to provide me with that, unfortunately, but she did send me that letter. I did contact her today, and she has sent a copy of that letter to the SID office as well.
I have one more question for Della. So looking at the P&L through June, out of the $60,000 budget, we've actually, it looks like only spent $7,000, so is it possible to look at increasing Paul's hours? So more work can get
Well,
done?
let me explain that to you then. His hours are actually coming out of my budget because he's an employee, he has to pay taxes, and we have to pay taxes on him. So that is something that,
Can't you separate his out and just put it under maintenance so you know what
No.
maintenance is at?
no, because the payroll is all done in one.
But I liked your idea.
But you can separate it,
I like your idea.
you can separate it out for a report.
What happened to the?
I mean, you can run a year-to-date report on what the
That
office
everybody got
staff
fired,
has been
all-
paid.
Well, yeah, we can do
They
that.
didn't budget for it.
And then like what
Deduct it
Paul's
from
been
her
paid to know
budget.
exactly where she is at
So we
in
can
that
do it.
budget.
And then we'll deduct it from her budget.
That's one deal. Who's responsible for making sure there's budget for maintenance? Whose job is that?
It's our job.
Then why
Well, no,
does
actually, it
maintenance
wasn't,
get
Marcia.
budgeted out of?
It was not
That's
our
why
job.
the parts and everything's all torn up, the docks and all that. Ain't nobody working on it. Now y'all want volunteers, we all took everything
We
Out of the
have,
bank
the settlement, with the settlement, we had to have a budget committee, and we were no longer allowed to do the budget. We had to have residents do the budget.
No, the board approved the budget, Della. You said you were part of the budget committee.
Residents did the budget.
We did a
Debbie,
recommendation and the
did
board approved
residents
it.
do the budget? That's all I said, residents did the budget.
What residents?
Right there.
And if the board right now thinks they can do a better budget, they can go ahead and do one.
Miss Marcia,
Oh, that's.
I've talked to Paul quite a bit. He is semi-retired. He don't want no more hours than what he's got. So if the board and the residents can come together, my recommendations would hire another part-time to help Paul.
We have to see if it's in the money that we have.
That's-
We are
that's what
very
I'm
low
asking.
on money. We've lowered the assessments 2%. So we're getting less money than we have over the years. So we've got less income to do all that stuff with. So we're working with what we have for this year. Hopefully next year will look a little better.
So what do
So
I
how's it
have
gonna
to
look different
So
next
what
year?
the-
Yeah, I'm not
You
gonna
can't
get
go
that.
over
So what's
8%.
gonna happen if they can use $3,000 for registers?
Bang, bang.
Marcia,
If-
Bang,
may I
bang.
say something?
Oh.
Excuse me, if you need to speak, please give your name because I'm taking minutes and I need to know who you are. What is your name, sir?
My name's Mike Pruitt.
Michael Pruitt. Thank you.
But that, with Paul being semi-retired, that's the reason why I'm asking, because he's not here. And Paul, me and him talk quite frequently.
The reason why he's only doing part-time is because that's all the budget allowed. That's why, so we hired a part-time person, which Paul is great. He's a
Oh,
good
he's
leader.
That's not what the
And I
budget
would
allowed.
love to have another part-time person.
That's not how the budget was set up. The budget was set up after we went through every line item in the budget to cut down every possible expense, that there was a total of $62,000 in the budget for the maintenance department to manage.
And the
There
roads.
was no criteria
And
as far
employees.
as a
And
limit
everything.
on payroll or material. It was to be decided by the maintenance manager.
So
And if you want to
Oh,
use more money, if you want to hire somebody part-time for a few months, just so it stays within that 62,000. And last year, I looked at the year-to-date last year with Dylan working, there was not much more than 60,000 spent. And we're to June now, there's only, so many months left. So, I mean, all you need to do, you have to sit down and look at the budget and figure out what you think you'd need for materials, looking at the worst roads, how much time that's going to take, and figure out how to allocate out of the remaining $54,000, how to handle it.
It'd be a lot easier to look at that and go from there than sit and spend $275 an hour to Ms. Ryan's.
Now, my response to Deb is that $62,000 you're saying should have been for the employee for the year, for all the roads to be repaired, for all the maintenance to be done, for the vehicles to be fixed, for all the products to be bought. That's what it is.
I know what it's for, but I'm saying, all of everything here is never gonna
We didn't do the
get
roads
fixed.
last year. We're trying to get them.
But I'm saying all of everything isn't gonna
get
be
them
fixed.
years.
I don't care if you hire somebody part-time or not, if it doesn't make sense to you.
I think it
guess
makes
does
perfect
make
sense. I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you. Great question.
I was wondering what is the last road or whatever that was filled in the potholes?
The one around the lake side.
We went all the way around, over there by Vagabond, all the way, down,
South Summit.
Mistletoe, we did
No, we can go all the way
we did
down.
four, we did five,
We just did it.
We did part of Mistletoe.
part of Mistletoe, I said, Summit, part of Mistletoe. Yes,
So how are you-
and this week we're gonna get another load.
How are you determining what roads you're fixing?
Because we have, work requests, and we're just trying to.
There wasn't one on my street. There was one single one and the whole street got fixed. And I shouldn't complain
But you're
because
not
my
the
road
only-
got fixed, but when there's people who can't drive down their roads, it
Well,
needs to be
you're on the same
prioritized.
street as Lana, And there was actually, and you're on the same street, a bunch of other people, and there was actually complaints.
Well, I think somebody FOIA'd the road requests and there was only one on my street. And that street too, have you talked to the water company? Because they're gonna do some major work and tear up a lot of the
Yeah, so
roads.
that's why we skipped over, March's Road, because you know, skipped
But
over
it's
that.
coming down my road too.
Well, there was a big
my
complaint
road.
about and I will be going down your, like I said, I will do it every week, we're doing it every single week.
I don't like that.
Everyone's roads need to be done, and this did not just all happen, this has been going on for years of work.
Don't.
Okay, so
I
the
don't
only
like
way.
I'm sorry, but I gotta disagree with you there. I've been.
Well, hang on, let Wanda speak. I called on her, I'll call on you next, okay?
The way to get any work done on your road, even when the material is available, is to turn in a work order. Okay. And it's gonna be addressed and not put in a door somewhere and ignored, right?
Jeanette,
We
we
have
have been taking very good care of
Yes,
those.
we-
I understand there were some that were put away,
Yes, and
not
that's-
addressed, and I think it's noted that, you know,
You're right, because for a while there, we
Yeah,
had
that
no
one we
maintenance, so
got
we're
fired
trying
this
to go,
month.
we're trying to go back on ones before there was not even a maintenance guy. We're trying to go back, so we're kind of working backwards, so I'm sorry that it's taken a little bit of time, but we are working on them, we're working backwards. even.
well, I know
We're
that
trying to
there's a
skip
lot of roads.
we're trying to get, we're trying.
There's a lot of roads that may be worse than mine, but there's a section at an
I know, I know,
on
I-
my street that's totally coming apart.
And I see that, and there's one on Mayo that's pulling
And
them apart.
being who I am, I have not turned any count, because I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, she's just doing that to be hateful.
And it's
You know,
not
I don't
just,
care if you don't ever do
Wanda,
something
it's
in
not
front of
just-
my house, but on the other end, Mistletoe, where the water company doesn't do what they're supposed to do and fill in their places,
those will be left.
it's crappy. Now you got a street that you patch, and the water company's gonna come in behind you and make lines cross and tear it up again. Are they gonna fix it?
They're supposed to.
There's,
They've
There's
never
supposed to.
done it.
Exactly, I know. They're supposed
How are we
to.
gonna
That's
make
why
them
those
do
meetings
that?
need to be attended to.
Well, that needs to be addressed.
It does need to be
You're
addressed.
wasting
Yes.
good coal mix that can be spread in other places instead of putting it where they're gonna come up and tear it up.
Yes, that's
Sir.
agreed.
go ahead, you have a question?
No, I didn't have a question, I was just making a statement.
Well, you can make your statement now if you want.
Well, she talked about they've been working on the road for years and all
No, I didn't say
I've
that.
been here since '88, and Melody, coming right off the Vagabond
Oh,
Road,
You
you
misunderstood me.
can't even
Yeah,
drive down that road.
She didn't say they were working on it for
I said
years, she
they've
said the
been like-
damage has been
been there
working
for
for
years.
years.
You misunderstood me, sorry.
Okay. All right. We're going to end this
I think
session.
we can understand what she said.
Okay, we're going
We can
to,
understand what she
No,
said.
he didn't understand.
Didn't-
Well, she can explain it to her.
okay, we're going to end the meeting, the question part of this. And
We have any club updates?
do we have club updates?
6:57.
Club
I
updates?
don't know, I don't think we have an authorized club yet for the Friends of the Fire Department because apparently we haven't gone through a review process.
That's a question I've got. What's that, why is that necessary?
We're going to get into that on the agenda, and then we'll have a comment session after the meeting.
Then,
We're going to have a comment session after the meeting, Tawanda.
okay.
Okay, so let us get started on our meeting. Do I have a motion to call the meeting to order?
Make a motion to call the meeting to order.
I second.
All in favor? Okay. Jeremy, would you like to do the opening prayer for us?
Me?
Sure.
You guys are good with that? Father, we thank you tonight for the opportunity to be here as a community. We ask you for guidance tonight, Lord, and decorum. We ask you just for all the property owners here, our families, that you bless this meeting, and bless our families. Amen.
Okay, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Johnson. Can I get a time to adjourn the meeting?
I move that we adjourn the meeting when our business is done.
Okay.
All in
Okay.
favor? All in favor?
All in favor? Okay. Old business, approved minutes for May 16th, 20th, or the 16th and the 30th, and for June the 20th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I don't remember talking about that.
Here.
Then don't second it.
I'll second.
You can't.
Why?
You're the chairman.
It doesn't matter, I can make a motion and I can second the motion.
You are only allowed to vote if there is a tie.
We are a small board and I am allowed to do that.
But the minutes aren't correct.
No, they're not. So you don't have a second, so they'll have to be tabled until next month.
I seconded it, so yes, now we can vote on it.
Okay.
All in favor?
I ain't for the time.
Well, we
Okay.
need to know what needs correcting.
We never discussed
Almost everything.
Well, then we get hold of Jeanette at the office and give her the information.
It wouldn't be Jeanette, it would be our secretary of the board.
No, I just do secretary right here.
Yes, and
Right, but what I'm saying is, it's not Jeanette's responsibility to correct the minutes.
But you can give her the corrections and she can give them to Lana.
Or I could give it to Lana, would that be okay too?
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
I can figure if it's not.
Okay, so that is tabled. Okay, then we had discussing the combination of the lots. I realize that people want to combine their lots. I would like to combine mine. I think what we're going to do is leave it up to the residents to see if they can do it, and then let us know the written information from the people they got it from, so that we can contact them and we can further go on with this.
Okay, I have talked to Kathy Nix, the county assessor. She said it cannot be done because they have their own land description. So it can't be done.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it up to the residents. Good deal.
Okay. Filling the seat on the board. We have only 4 members on the board. We are required to have 5. It does not matter that we're going to have an election in November. We have to fill that vacant seat.
Why do we have to fill it now, but we didn't have to fill it in January, February, March, April, May, or June?
Because I just now read through the codes.
Just now?
Well, a couple weeks ago. So yes. And because people had questioned me about it.
Okay.
What code is it?
1492-240.
That's not the code.
Yes, ma'am, here
No,
it
it's
is right
not.
here if you want to read it.
It's not.
Okay.
I've got 1492-240 right in front of me right now. That's not the code.
Any suburban improvement district which contains less than 6,000 lots and which selects successful commissioners by a vote of the remaining commissioners may alter the number and method of selection of members of the board commissioners for the district pursuant to this section.
Right, I'm sorry. Are we now altering the number and method of selection of members of